Well, hello everyone, Dan Hurd, Dan Hurd Prospecting here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. I am here at the city of Phoenix. That's Phoenix, British Columbia. An old copper mine, the Phoenix Mine. Today we are here looking for some amazing mineral specimens that I've found here in the past, and we're gonna try to track down again. So wish me luck, and I hope you enjoy. And helping me out today is my amazing wife, Dana.
Hello.
And there is the Phoenix Copper Mine. Over 100 years ago, this was a huge producing copper mine. In fact, they had a big city right where you see water now, that they had to move the whole city because they realized the best copper deposit was underneath the city. They had to move the whole city over there while they mined out the best copper deposit. Huge copper mine. And where you have copper, you always have great mineral specimens of all sorts of these copper-bearing minerals. That's what we're looking for today. Now, old mine sites like this are all under claim. They were all claimed up by mining companies, now hoping to redevelop those mine sites, and this is no different. We do have permission to be here on these claims. In fact, my buddy Grizzly Discoveries, has something in mind for working the Phoenix Copper Mine here in the near future, and they're doing some active exploration up here right now. But let's look for some rocks. There's some copper pyrite in there, calcite for sure. What we're hoping for today is some of this calcite. You know it's calcite, not quartz, because of the flat angular breaks in the stone itself. We're looking for some calcite that has molybdenum crystals growing inside of it, or chalcopyrite crystals. But specifically, I found a rock up here that looks like a poppy jasper. Big red blobs all through it. Now, it's not a poppy jasper. I believe it's a hematite in there, but it looks very similar. So, looking for the calcite with the metal crystals and the pseudo poppy jasper.
Is this calcite gonna always have this like pink hue to it?
No, often it is stark white.
Okay.
This one has a bit of pink to it, but often it's just a stark white. Here's a good example. There's some of the calcite, nice big flat planes, and looking on the back, I do see some metal crystals down below it. We're hoping to see some of those growing up into the calcite, because calcite has a great property that makes it so nice for mineral specimens, is that soaking it in any kind of acid, yes, even just vinegar, will dissolve the calcite and leave everything else behind. I believe you just found a sphalerite crystal. Sphalerite is a zinc ore, and that's a beautiful crystal. Put that in your pocket. Okay. And of course, being a copper mine, we have copper staining all over the place. Here's some malachite green, azurite blue. This is some malachite on this one. Dane's brought a couple over for me to look at. This one here, great purple, probably molybdenite in there, I'm guessing. Might just be oxidized pyrites of another sort. Oh, Dane, come here, Dane. I found it. I found the poppy stuff. A small piece of it. First, Dane, on your way in, have a look at that rock right there.
Does it sparkle?
It sparkles.
Oh, yes.
What'd you find?
Is this kind of what we're looking for?
Ooh, that's the stuff, but we need to see crystals growing in it. Have a look at this, Dane.
Okay. Oh, yes!
Right there. That's what we're looking for. Sort of like a poppy jasper, except I believe that's hematite in either a calcite or a quartz or some sort of carbonate. It looks like a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
Okay, now bigger pieces. Oh. Another one. And that one, even though it's very weathered on the outside, is another one. You can see all the red blebs all through it. So cut that open. It should be beautiful inside. And this one's already weathered out. It's had the calcium or whatever was in it dissolve away already. Makes like this mouth of pyrite crystals. Really depends on how much the carbonate here will dissolve, whether or not that'll come out nice. But I definitely see the sphalerite and the chalcopyrite crystals growing in the calcite there. So that might be good. Not quite the perfect specimen yet. This might be a good one. The calcite there has definitely got pyrite crystals growing on both sides of it. It'll be interesting to see what's left over because this is mostly calcite, but you can see the pyrites all around it. That one's going in acid. Look at that, huge pyrite through that. Some copper malachite staining. Let's see if I can pull that out. Copper all through it. One of the problems is a lot of the carbonate here does not dissolve well. A lot of it does. A lot of it has too much silica in it, so it doesn't. So you have to find the pieces that really dissolve to get this effect going nicely. And what I've found is the really platy looking stuff here is the stuff that dissolves the best. This will be a good one. Perfect platy calcite. It'll dissolve, and I see crystals all along the bottom edge of it. That's going to be nice. One big calcite crystal. Awesome peacocking on that one. Peacocking. I don't think that's really a word, but you know what I mean. Going those crazy peacock colors. And a bunch of azurite. Azurite, no, malachite. Malachite staining. Really boring rocks around here, isn't it?
I know.
Oh, yes. Look at that copper.
Looking right back at you.
Wow. Oh! Oh!
I like.
You throwing that away?
Yeah, look at that. Look at this specimen.
Oh. Very nice. You throw it away too?
No, that one's the one I'm keeping.
Okay, we have bags now.
Oh, okay.
And
This
yeah,
really, you can see the cubes of it.
you bet.
That one I'm allowed to throw away, okay?
Okay, but here's a bag for you.
Okay.
Bag. Another small piece of the poppy. This one even has some pyrites on the back. That should dissolve real nice. You can see the layer in between the two sides of quartz crystals there that is soluble or dissolvable. And there's crystals all through it. If I can dissolve that so it breaks into two halves, each half is going to have an amazing plate on it. What you doing, Dane?
Looking for rocks.
If that only weren't buried and bigger than I want to carry. Pyrites all around, the dissolvable calcite all around, an interface between them, meaning you'll get crystals, but I'd have to go back for the shovel to dig it out, and then I probably wouldn't want to carry that out of here. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff all around. Boulder hopping over here, going over all the boulders looking for just that right piece. There's lots of good stuff. I'm looking for the great piece now. If I could find the smaller version of that, pyrite crystals right through it, some sphalerite, that would do it. Just have to find the right one. All of a sudden it got windy. There's a good wind that just blew up. I found Dana again. She's down at the truck. I'm up on a hill. I'm not sure I'm getting down off this hill. I'm hoping gravity doesn't help too much. So what'd you find?
Not rock.
Not rock?
Hey, look at this cool piece of glass I found.
Whoa, kind of like metallic glass.
There's probably lead in that one.
Oh, maybe, yeah. It's old. Just like me. We found a ton of great looking rock. But we don't know how good it will be until we take it home and process it. Dissolve it in acid, cut those poppy jasper type things, see if they hold together when they cut, and see what they look like inside. So I'm gonna do that right now on video. You get to see it all. Well, here we are back home in my very messy shop. And the first job is to clean these specimens. Now, I have got some high strength vinegar. This is cleaning vinegar used for like cleaning floors and stuff like that. It is 10%, where regular household kitchen vinegar is usually 5%. So I'm gonna fill up a little tub here. We're gonna get the rocks that I wanna dissolve cleaning in the vinegar before I start using the heavier acids. Now the nice thing about vinegar, even this heavier, stronger stuff, is the safety requirements aren't nearly as intense as it is with the muriatic acid. I will definitely be wearing eye protection when dealing with the vinegar, the high-strength vinegar, but unless you have like delicate hands, you're not going to need to worry about protecting your skin. It is vinegar. It's only slightly stronger than what you have on your fries. And I should also note, it's called cleaning vinegar. It's not meant for cleaning rocks. It is meant for cleaning floors. I'm using it to clean the rocks of the easily dissolvable stuff around the surface and maybe some of the dirt and whatnot that's on the surface to just save some of my muriatic acid, because the muriatic acid is more expensive. So we're just going to take the initial first clean of the stones with the cheaper cleaning vinegar. And I won't be doing all the stones today, just a select few that I really want to see. And this here is the one that I really want to show you. Start to finish, the whole process of this. I'm going to give you lots of close-ups. This is the rock we'll be following. The rest, I will just show you if there's any great sections when they're done of the crystals. Here, we're going to watch this one carefully. Now we're going to leave that in the vinegar for about 10 hours to let it start dissolving away what it can. I see some fizzing going on already. Now unfortunately my vinegar was cold, so it'll be slow to start. While I do that, because it's going to be like 10 hours in there, let's cut some of that poppy jasper and show you what it looks like. First, let's look at this poppy jasper stuff, which isn't a poppy jasper. It's obviously like a hematite of some sort in a carbonate. Probably a calcium carbonate. If you look carefully at the red blebs, you can actually see some pyrites or metallics of some sort shining back at you. I did cut 2 of these pieces on the lapidary saws, and this one didn't turn out so great, really fractured up. The other one was a lot better. This cut came out really nice. Really neat looking material. I'm shaking. Too much coffee today. You can see still a little bit of the metallics in there. Whatever the material actually is, probably a hematite. You can see a little bit of evidence of it. And on some of them you can really see the radial oxidation of it. Whatever's oxidizing those, whatever the metallics are in there, it's probably iron. The oxygen's coming in and it makes this radial pattern. And beautiful, beautiful puppy type jasper pattern it's creating. I just have a thin layer of oil on the surface right now, so it really shows the color beautifully. And this was just cut on my lapidary saw, the diamond saw out in the shop that I cut all the ocean picture stone on. You know, 1/2-inch thick slabs. Really need to make some cabs and stuff out of this. If I remember when this video comes out, which isn't coming out for many months still, this will probably be like a January or February video. If I remember, I'll put 1 or 2 of these pieces up in the auctions. So if anyone wants a piece of the Dan Hurd poppy jasper, they can get their own chunk, if I haven't used it all by then. And again, didn't look like too much on the outside. You could definitely see the red blebs. You can see the calcite, but when you cut it, inside's amazing. This might be that fractured up piece again. Looks to be lots of cracks in this piece. Where's that light? Light's in the wrong spot. I was shooting a video last week where we found these amazing crystals of either garnet or cooperite. And I mentioned in the video that because it was in with calcium, I could dissolve the calcium away and we could see the crystals in much better, clean clarity. I figured, while I have the acid out, I may as well try this rock as well. Let's get it in the vinegar. If vinegar doesn't do it, we'll do it in muriatic acid. Let's see what we get. And the fizzing you see is the vinegar dissolving the calcite, which is protecting the crystals. Once we put it in hydrochloric, that fizzing will get very energetic. It's a fizzing. It's doing its job. Well, it's been the full 10 hours, but the vinegar is not used up yet. I'm still seeing active bubbling going on down inside there. You know the vinegar is all used up when the bubbling has stopped. And it's still bubbling, so I'm going to leave it go all night long and see what it looks like in the morning. Well, there's still a tiny bit of bubble action going on, but it's basically done. That took a lot longer than I expected to finish off the vinegar. And look how dirty that water is now. That's the point of the vinegar, is to get rid of all of that easily dissolvable stuff and the mud on the surface before you put it in with the hydrochloric, because hydrochloric is kind of expensive. So let's get rid of the easy stuff first. Now, unfortunately, I am just about to hit the road on a road trip for a week. So all I can do tonight is rinse these off and get them ready for the hydrochloric when I get back. For me, it's going to be a week's time. For you, it'll be right here. Here's a quick look at the one that we're following to see what it looks like with the vinegar only. Just wait till the next acid. Then you'll really see this thing pop. And now for the hydrochloric or muriatic acid. Yes, they're the same thing. Now, this is not a how-to video. In fact, I'm going to say do not do this yourself at home. Do not do this yourself, period. This stuff is nothing to joke with. It is dangerous. Yes, I will have all the PPE on. Eye protection, gloves, fresh water to rinse with. This is no joke to play with this acid. So no, this is not a how-to video, and I am not recommending you do this at home. There's my disclaimer. I will be mixing the muriatic acid 50-50 with warm water. Now, warm because it is a cool fall day out here, and I need to keep this reaction going, so a bit of heat in there will help. So warm water, muriatic acid, the stuff that you buy at the hardware store for cleaning pools or concrete, and 50-50 mix. Okay, eye protection's on, gloves are on, let's mix this up. Try not to let it splash. I'm using a very old jacket in case I do get any on the jacket, because it will eat through the jacket. There we are. And when the rocks go into this, you should see a big difference in the reaction rate versus the vinegar. And the rock that we've been following along the way, let's get her in there. It will get submerged completely when I fill up the rest of the bin with rocks. And I should also mention that we're doing this outside because this gives off some nasty corrosive fumes. Nasty fumes that if it was in my garage, everything in the garage would start to rust. Not only that, it can dissolve some of the pyrites, which does give off a little bit of sulfur dioxide, which really stinks. Okay, it's all loaded up. We're gonna let that go until the fizzing stops. When the fizzing stops, either all the acid is used up or all the calcium is gone, one or the other. Yes, the big rock there is sticking half out. I thought that might make a neat look to it. I'm not sure. We'll see when it comes out. I'm not sure how long this will take. That was a fair amount of the acid I put in there, but there's also a lot of calcium, and it's reacting pretty quickly, so we'll see. With the muriatic acid, you don't want to go full strength. That's why I've diluted it halfway, because if you don't, it can actually dissolve a lot of the pyrites that are in there. So you do need to dilute it. The fact that we're dissolving so much calcium so quickly should also diminish the strength of it really quickly. So the pyrite should still keep their structure. At least that's my hope. The fizzing is almost stopped. There's just a little bit going on in there now. Either means all the calcium is gone inside the acid, or that acid is spent. So here's a brand new piece that hasn't been dissolved at all. Lots of calcium on it. If I dip it in and it fizzes lots, it means the acid is still good. Oh, it only just fizzes a bit. That acid is pretty much used up. I'll put that in, let it go, just to use up the rest of the acid. It's not fizzing very hard at all. That should kill it off completely. And then we rinse everything in water for days upon days upon days. Okay, the next morning, and the acid has done its job. We're now flushing the system with water, getting rid of as much of the acidity out of those rocks as possible, cleaning them off the best we can, And after 10 minutes of flushing, we'll then just let it sit for days in fresh water, changing the water as often as possible. The rocks actually absorb some of the acid, and we have to let that acid unabsorb from the rocks. Is that a word? I don't know. Okay, one final rinse in the sink, and we're all clean and ready to take some great shots of this amazing material. And if you're horrified right now that my kitchen has been taken over by rocks, well, that's just standard practice around my house. There are never times when there are no rocks in the kitchen. The rocks without any calcium left have cleaned up really nicely. The rocks that still have calcium on it, that's that big chunk I put in after the fact to use up the rest of the acid. The calcium itself has absorbed a lot of the acid and thus a lot of the iron, so it gets stained yellow. You can clean that up by a quick dip in fresh acid and then rinse right away, but right now anything with calcium still has that yellow haze. This one I would just dissolve more. Same with that guy there. But the rest of these came out beautiful. Time to have a look at some of these. Something you will notice about the dissolved specimens here is that they definitely show the quartz. The quartz does not dissolve, so we have quartz crystals all over the place. The chalcopyrite does not dissolve much at all, so you're going to see the pyrites, the fool's gold, all around. The host rock obviously doesn't dissolve, but the calcite should be completely gone. Some of these, with the quartz crystals and the chalcopyrite together, wow, that is a specimen and a half. But it's far, far from the best. I'm saving that one stone that we've been following this whole trip for the very end because of how spectacular it is. Now the sphalerite in there, that's a zinc ore, has dissolved somewhat. It's that black stuff you see down amongst the quartz crystals. Now I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see any great molybdenum crystals in here like I saw the first time I did this. So I'm not sure if maybe originally I was mistaken some of the sphalerite for molybdenite, and maybe I just wasn't using as harsh of an acid the first time and it left those crystals more in a plate form. Now this specimen here is the closest that I can see to what I remember as the molybdenite crystals I saw the first time I did this. But I'm pretty sure this might just be sphalerite, but still quite shiny, didn't dissolve away the same. A little bit different than before. I can see the platiness of it, but I seem to remember before it was very, very purple, not so silver in color, which I associate with molybdenite. And here's a piece of it on its own. No quartz crystals. I think that's sphalerite. Zinc ore. Check out that quartz cluster. Isn't he cute? He's only about a ½ inch across, but awesome. Ooh, it's a little dark. Let's brighten that up a bit. There we go. Great little cluster that broke off. One of the bigger specimens. And some of them came out very green. Now that could be pyroxene. It could be epidote, but I'm thinking that's a cooperite. Nope, not a cooperite. What's the other one? What's the other copper mineral? High in copper. Uh-oh, my brain is fading at the moment. The crystals. Those red crystals, those are awesome. I'm sorry. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen here. Look at the delicate quartz crystals in there. Wow. Close up of the green. Okay, what next? Oh, how about this one? More chalcopyrite, more quartz crystals, more awesomeness. But remember, I am saving the best for last. This one looks to be more of an iron pyrite rather than a chalcopyrite. Not quite so yellow. Look at that, leaving a little bit of amethyst in there, a little bit of pinkness to the quartz as it absorbed some of the iron. And that is a tiny bit of calcite that did not get dissolved away. Pulled that one out just a second too soon. This one didn't have any of the quartz crystals in it, just the chalcopyrites. Iron pyrites are those red crystals you see in there. The yellow crystals are the chalcopyrite. And this one here, loaded in chalco, but no quartz. The red you see back there is an iron pyrite crystal.
Here's another I thought might have molybdenite, but looking at this close up, I'm pretty sure that's sphalerite. I bet you that's what I mistook as molybdenite the first time around. Little guy. Not much going on here. More of the green, some quartz crystals, some chalcopyrite. Just a little thing. Let's get my fingers in there. That one's not big at all. Now this is what I'm assuming is the cooperite. That is a copper crystal. Kind of looks like a garnet. And it could be a garnet. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't tested it. That could be cooperite. Let's see if I can get a better shot. I've got the light wrong for it right now. I'm not sure. There's definitely a red translucent crystal in there. This is a copper mine. While I'm on this beast, check out the chalcopyrite. Woohoo! There, look at that. That's a whole pocket of them. You get the light on that. Someone who knows crystal structure more than me. Tell me, is that garnet or is that cooperite? I'm sure the shapes you're seeing there can tell you for sure. Those look like garnets to me. Those look like quartz crystals to me. Okay, now on to the good stuff. This is just a small chunk that broke off one of the bigger plates. I'm going to show you a close-up of that and then get some of the bigger plates out here. Wow! Such delicate quartz crystals. That's why I love calcite so much. It protects what's inside so that it keeps its structure so well. Almost forgot to show you this one. This is crazy. It had a lot of calcite in it, and you can see that a lot of the calcite is still at the back, not dissolved. Beautiful structure. Just a great big cavern of quartz crystals. One big chunk of chalcopyrite at the top there. Was spectacular. Kind of because of its size and the way it created that big void. Get my hand in there for the size reference. Big mouth. Okay, now back to all these plates. Let's go for the big, well, no, the big one is the one at the end. Let's go for that medium-sized one. Show you around. Kind of has everything in here. It has the chalcopyrite, the iron pyrite, quartz crystals everywhere. That green mineral, which still eluding me. Someone just leave it in the comment. What is that green mineral? I should know it. And the dark areas here are the sphalerite. A little bit of everything in this sample. And beautifully on display. Love dissolving calcite. This one here had a lot more of that sphalerite staining the top black there. Just a little guy. This one has a whole sphalerite crystal just sitting up in the air there. Still the pyrites, both calco and iron. Quartz crystals. The green, copper, something or other. Great little specimen. Now, if only there were native gold with this. Whoa. I think this one here is my favorite of the smaller specimens. It's got so much going on. Definitely my favorite of the smaller specimens. But that's it. I'm going to bring out the 3 big specimens now and show you why I'm so excited. Now the rock we have been following fell apart. The calcium came out of the seam in between and the 2 halves came apart. I'll put those in the light box separately and show you. And then the other big one, I did end up submerging it completely and dissolving it completely. It has so much going on. You just take it over to the better light though. Can you say, wow? This is the one we've been following the whole way through. The calcium came out of the middle. The 2 halves fell apart, showing just a massive, massive plate. Quartz crystals, chalcopyrite, sphalerite. None of that green stuff. But the black there, I believe, is the sphalerite staining some of the quartz crystals. And amazing calco. This here is why chalcopyrite is called fool's gold. For someone who doesn't know better, they could mistake that for gold so easily. So easily. And here's the other side of that same seam, that same piece we've been following. Kind of more the same, with a bit more of that green mineral on it. I don't think there's any on the other side. So the green mineral, copper rich for sure. Over here we've got the zinc rich zone. There's a little bit more iron in it. Don't really have an iron zone necessarily on this one, unless the black is possibly an iron mineral as well. This is my favorite of the day for sure. However, the other one, the next one I'm going to show you is the biggest, and it's got so much going on. I could do almost a full video on this piece alone of everything that is going on in it. It is huge. It's almost a foot across. It has every mineral we've been looking at here all on one plate, and some neat geological structures going on as well. See this back here that didn't dissolve, the top didn't dissolve off? And that's because there is a thin vein of what is probably a quartz holding the two sides together. So the top didn't fall off because the quartz wouldn't dissolve. You can see the iron-rich zone over here with all the iron pyrites kicking around, but you still have the sphalerite in there. You have that green and chalcopyrite. Moving around, we have copper-rich areas with nothing but chalcopyrite. Moving over here, we have a zinc-rich area with big chunks of sphalerite in there. More copper-rich. Look at the copper down here. Wow. And then flip this whole thing around. Let's look at the other side where we actually can go inside a little bit. And we have it all. Copper, zinc, and iron. All mashed together. Now this video was shot over a month's time, so I hope I got everything in it. I hope earlier I showed you that red poppy jasper stuff that I was playing with. That's part of this video too, but it's been so long I can't even remember if I showed it to you. I'm pretty sure I did. Amazing specimens. So amazing. What an adventure to find this stuff. So much fun to dissolve it out. As I've always said, calcium is one of my favorite minerals because you can get rid of it. So I saw something interesting on one of these pieces. I thought I'd throw it under the microscope for a second and check things out. Awesome quartz crystals, of course. You can see some sphalerite in there. You can see some chalcopyrite. But tell me that's not native copper there. That really looks like native copper. You can see all the different minerals on one. And yes, that looks like metallic copper. When you talk about native metals, that means metals in their metallic form in nature. Native copper means actual metallic copper, not a pyrite, copper. That sure looks like it. Sphalerite, chalcopyrite, and native copper. Growing on quartz crystals. I gotta find a deposit like this that has actual native gold. That would be awesome. And another piece, obviously chalcopyrite right there, quartz crystals everywhere, and native copper. And I thought I'd check out those either cooperite or garnet crystals under the microscope. Looking at them close up like that, that's gotta be garnet. The one picture we got early on of those sure looked like a cooperite, but I'm saying now that's gotta be garnet. Tough to say. Awesome pyrite crystal there. Pyrite, copper pyrite. And then the garnet, cooperite, something else. So hard to say. Leaning towards garnet at the moment.
Well, that was an epically long video to film, in the fact that, you know, between the time we were collecting versus the time I finished the video, it's been over 2 months. Well, it was fun to do, got some great specimens, and as always, if you're interested in any of the specimens that I collect on any of my adventures, I sell most of them on my website, www.danhurdprospecting.com, in the shop. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, please leave that thumbs up. If I haven't earned your subscription yet, I hope I earned it today. And a big thanks to everyone for watching. Until the next one. Bye!